Hi, I'm Allie, and you're listening to It's Supposed to Be Funny, the Caricature Podcast. Today, I'll be talking with Cory Lally, the owner of the California Boys, and we're both going to be going through kind of our how we got started in caricatures stories. We've all got them. We all start differently. Me and Cory both started in more of a retail environment. Some people start with gigs. Some people start out just doing straight illustrations, fine arts. We all start out differently. And I think all the stories are super interesting. But what I love about me and Cory's story is that they intertwine in the best possible way to get us to where we are today. So without further ado, here is me and Cory talking about how we got started, and I'll see you at the end for some credits.
How's it going, everybody? This is so stupid. This is so dumb. I was a wee little lad. Sorry. Okay. I feel like I should tell this dramatically.
You can if you want to.
I'm gonna tell it like I imagine it being played. I think I'm gonna jade myself. So there's a spelling quiz I took or something in English class, and I finished it. And in my downtime, I doodled like all over the quiz. And of course, when I got it back, I'd only gotten a D. And as a freshman, if you got a D or less, you had to have your parents sign it, yada, yada, yada. So I took it to my dad so he could sign it. And he saw the doodles. And I kid you not, I was like, "Oh, where do you think this is going to get you in life? You got time to doodle all over your quiz, but you can't check your spelling." So needless to say, that's the summer I got a job as a caricature artist. And I guess I should just tell the story instead of wrapping it up there. This is so stupid. You're going to have to cut so much out, Allie. So much. So there's a little amusement park in Lancaster called Dutch Wonderland. And one day a guy named Tim Reed was drawing outside our high school cafeteria, drawing caricatures of people. And I don't even think I got drawn, but he was advertising for a job fair for a company that does art vending inside amusement parks. So I went to the job fair with my dad, all dressed up, looking fancy, brought my portfolio, and I showed up to the interview, and I pretty much applied for every position but caricatures, only to learn that the only thing they needed was caricatures. So Tim had me draw him on the spot. It was really high pressure, really shitty caricature, as I'm sure you can imagine. So I drew this really awful caricature of Tim, and I guess he saw something in me, and or they just really needed people. I don't know, but I was hired, and so I went through with the amusement parks. You go through some basic orientation, some basic training, and after about 2 weeks, I was drawing live at a little park called Dutch Wonderland with another artist named Chai, and that's where it started. It wasn't long before Tim had moved on to a different park, kind of lost our Obi-Wan Kenobi, no one to really learn from. And after a few years, it was kind of time for me to move on. It was just a summer job. I think it was my 5th year that I was quitting. I stuck around to help transition him, help hire the new supervisor, or not hire, help train, and, did some hiring, and hired a guy named Jordan Martin. And didn't really get to meet him, or even, I guess I met him, but I didn't really get to know him. There wasn't really any training. Honestly, I shouldn't have been training people anyways. I was just I'd been drawing for about 5 years, but it was just like a really long-term first-year artist. Pretty crappy. So anyways, I left to go manage at American Eagle for another job. And after a few, years after doing that, still satisfied, I get a call from Tim Reed, who I had not heard from since he left, the amusement park, which was after my 2nd year. And he asked if I want to come do fairs with another guy down in Florida in the middle of January. Keep in mind, I live in Pennsylvania. January is cold as shit in Pennsylvania. So yeah, this made perfect sense to me. I even had some paid vacation time, so I was going to get paid by my job while going to work at another job. So I went down to Florida, and after a year, or I went down to Florida, and after a week, I called back up, quit American Eagle, and that was the start of me getting back into caricatures, starting at fairs.
All right, so, haha. So I've been drawing like most caricature artists from when I was really little, just doodling. I loved doing comics and coming up with comic book characters, that kind of stuff. But growing up, I was kind of under the impression that I wouldn't be able to make it as an artist, that I'd have to get some sort of full-time job to be able to do art and survive. So what I ended up doing was going to college to be an art teacher, and I did that, and I went into the teaching world and did that for like 2 years. I was a substitute. Actually did get to teach some high school art, but the thing was, during the entire time I was teaching, I just wanted to do art. I didn't want to teach them art. I kind of got annoyed that they even asked me to help them. I found myself doodling a lot. So at the end of 2 years doing that, there was a summer where my long-term position had ended, so I needed a job. I remember there being caricatures at Hershey Park, so I called them up and they sent me to Commons Art Shops, and I put in an application with them. I got a call back, had an interview, did that really crappy caricature of the person interviewing you, and they hired me, I was super excited. I couldn't wait to get started. So when I got there, they handed me a packet and they told me to go sit in the corner and do this packet. Just keep drawing, just keep doing it. Luckily, there was a guy in there named Dave Cook who was a former supervisor, and he brought in examples every day. He used to bring in celebrities and different artists as inspiration, and he did some exercises with me and got me really excited about caricatures. Like, I started to see the potential that caricatures had and just the level of technique and style that went into it, and I got super excited. But the tipping point for me came when an artist named Alex Clare came as a guest artist to work with us for a few days. And after picking his brain for hours, because we had a few shifts together, he did a caricature of me that I still have up in my house that I just absolutely loved. He had a style that I just really tended towards. It was very cartoony, very fast, very stylized, and I just loved it. And I think because of him, I think I really saw its potential, especially watching him draw live. Okay, so here's the part of the story that gets a little convoluted. I ended up going at the end of the season to a party on an island in Ohio, and this is where I met artist Jordan Martin, who will later be my husband. He was working at Dutch Wonderland at the time, for only a week actually, because Aaron begged him to come back and then baited him with this party at the end of the year. So that's where I met him, and we hit it off. But I also met Matt Zitman, who basically told me that yeah, you're gonna come work for me. Yeah. So I laughed it off because I'm like, well, I don't live out there, so why would I work for you? But I ended up moving out to where they were, and during that winter time, we got together, we hung out a lot, me, Jordan, Matt, Alex, Chris Chua as well. We all became pretty close, and when the summer season rolled around, we started working at Dorney. Jordan also had moved back with his parents, and he started working at Dorney as well. So that was kind of a weird set of circumstances. So we started working there, and I realized just how awful I was. While I was at Hershey, I thought, oh, I'm getting pretty good. I'm having a lot of fun. And then when I got to Dorney Park, Matt Sitman definitely knocked me back a whole bunch of notches. And he basically told me I sucked a lot. I only got to watch him live draw once, but I think his attitude's what stuck with me the most, where I base where I can't ever think that I'm good enough because there's always going to be room for improvement, and to never think I'm good. So I took that with me, and also getting to work with Chris. I got to work with Chris Chua a lot, and I got from him that I always need to be critical of my own work, and he always gave me constructive criticism, whether I wanted it or not. But I'm so much better for it. So mid-season working at Dorney, I ended up having to move. My living situation to change. So I moved back within working distance of Hershey. So I start back at Hershey, and while I'm there, I meet this guy who offers me a chance to work at some fairs. So I give him my card, and I get a call from him a few weeks later. His name is Jared Laser. He says, "Hey, do you want to come work this? Hey, do you want to come work this Bloomsburg fair?" And I said, "Sure."
And anyways, we're doing this fair in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. So we've worked our way back up north. And
Jordan came along with me. We were dating at the time.
You know, we've got some new artists coming along. Rob Little and I have been hyping up how we're going to be buddy. And, you know, we got these new guys, and they're going to know each other. It's a girlfriend-boyfriend combination. It's just going to be him and I this whole fair. And, of course, you know, these two new artists walk in.
So we get to the Bloomsburg Fair, and we walk into this trailer, and there stands two artists that we've never seen before, and we introduce ourselves.
Everybody does their hellos.
But Jordan's got this look on his face, like just staring down one of the artists, and slowly he starts to say, did you used to work at Dutch?
Did you ever used to work at Dutch Wonderland? And, like, initially I was like, well, yes, but I don't know how you know that, and I don't know who you are.
And the other guy's like, yeah.
But I feel like pretty quickly it kind of hit me. I was like, wait a second, I know you.
They get to talking, and it turns out that this guy, Cory, had hired Jordan to work at Dutch Wonderland and then left like a few days later. But they just, in this trailer, they just totally hit it off.
They kicked it off, and, you know, the entire fair, we ended up being like best friends forever. Like doing the stupidest stuff.
So the rest of the fair, Jordan and Cory just had the best time.
Poor Allie. Well, that's kind of rude to Rob, but Allie ended up working with Rob after.
I had a good time too. It was just me and Rob.
You know, she brings her boyfriend to this fair, so she has somebody to connect with, and she doesn't spend like any time with him.
I lost my husband. He made this new best friend
for 10 days straight. You know, it's just Jordan and I catching up, being dumb. Like, we're coming up with like, you know, caricature game ideas. We literally made a like Transformers outfit out of cardboard boxes, and on top of it, we're like selling better than them too, which feels really good. So that's how we met. And then, you know, eventually we kind of, my friend Jared and I, who was actually the person who got Allie to come to the fair, kind of started our own thing, the California Boys.
We ended up doing more fairs. Cory got his business started, and we started working for Cory, doing his fairs.
And, you know, we just become good friends. So when we started our own thing, they were really the first people we turned to. And, you know, we've been working together ever since.
And it's been awesome ever since.
That was what, 4 years ago? No, I think 4 years ago. 4 years ago.
4, 3,
so I guess collectively, I've been drawing caricatures since 2001. The summer between, I don't know, 2001, 2002. Yeah, that's a lot of time. Had some time off in the middle, but here we are, still working strong with Jordan Martin and Allie Tome, who had this idea for a podcast.
I did.
What?
What?
Pretty good, right? That's my story.
So
I'm sticking to it. It's not supposed to be funny. Get it? Because that's the... Oh, wait. No, it is supposed to be funny. Damn it.
It's supposed to be funny.
I sent you a text this morning saying I didn't like that title, but
Yeah, it's weird that I didn't get that text.
Whatever.
I can't believe it.
All right.
So, anyway,
In closing.
we're even going to put in closing. We're
I like
talking
that. I like in closing.
In closing.
In closing?
It sounds so finalized, though. I don't know if I like it or not. In closing. In closing.
No,
Well, we don't have a tagline yet, so.
Our
Our closing is, thanks for sticking with it.
Do you want a mat?
Would you like a mat? That would be great, actually. We sell sleeves and mats. Would you like something to protect your podcast with?
Like something to
Put it up on your wall. It's really nice.
Ready to hang. Ready to frame.
Already custom cut. Comes
Like-
with plastic.
Just like most of this
Just like
recording
custom
session.
cut.
Just gonna be cut. Dry. Anyways.
Um,
Well, next time, guys.
next time. Welcome back, and now for some credits. I just wanted to thank again Mr. Cory Lally of the California Boys for stopping by and chit-chatting with me with my single microphone. We had a blast, so that was a lot of fun. Hopefully he'll be back for another podcast. Speaking of podcasts, we will see you guys again in 2 weeks. In the meantime, my friend Nolan Harris is doing his own podcast called the ISCast, which deals a lot with the International Society of Caricature Artists. And he talks to those artists, and they're really fun interviews, and you get to know some of the members of ISCA. So it's really awesome. You should totally check it out. Next time you see me, we'll be talking about what exactly is a caricature and how different artists deal with that question in different ways. I'd also like to thank my amazing friend at Twinde, TWINDE, for making the music for this podcast. He'll be popping up a lot, so you should check him out too. And as always, have a good one. We'll see you next time. Bye!